This for the fofo. This for the fofo. For the city and them back roads. Got a whole county full of them ghosts. All from the fofo and let's go. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah. So let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva. Them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the fofo chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And kinda got flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.
Good morning, everybody. Thank God it's Friday. Sam Torres here from the 440 Sports Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. As we're going to cover some baseball and softball games today from yesterday and talk about their scores and what was going on there. I'm really excited today. I've got a pretty unique event that we're going to be covering right here on YSN starting around 11 o'clock. This afternoon, well, I guess, or this morning, however you describe that, we are going to head over to Lakeside for their Class Wars Dodgeball Tournament. So that's going to be a pretty fun one there. I'm really excited to cover that. I've never actually got a chance to cover a softball, or excuse me. I want to make sure our sound is on before I get too far into the show. There we go. Good. It'll be the first time I've covered a dodgeball tournament for the schools, and I'm really excited about that opportunity. That coverage is going to start right there at about 11 o'clock at Lakeside. Now, they've got some other stuff planned today there as well, including like an obstacle course and some other really, really cool things. Like, shout out to Lakeside for putting this whole event together. But some of it is weather dependent. And I've had conflicting reports on whether the weather is going to actually cooperate today. I know that at some point we are going to get rain up here on the lakefront. The timing of that rain, though, is up in the air. And I guess, I could listen to our YSN brethren and go to the 21 Storm Tracker app and just check there, because that's going to be a fairly accurate look as to what the weather is going to be today. So let me just go ahead and do that and see what it's predicting for us here in Ashtabula. Here we go. So it looks like rain showers are going to start, I guess, anytime it says. So it could be at any point today it starts raining, but with the heaviest rain coming at about 7 o'clock. So that's not too bad. We might be able to get some obstacle course work. We may be able to actually see some obstacle course stuff over there at Lakeside. But nonetheless, that's going to start at 11 o'clock. We're heading over to Lakeside. We're going to have some special guests come on there. I know Dr. Markel Perkins is going to jump on the broadcast and talk a little bit. We may be bringing in some senior leaders. We may bring in some, of the leaders from each class. I think this one is going to be a pretty fun event. Make sure you tune in today at 11 o'clock. And then at 5 o'clock, weather permitting, we've got a big one. St. John versus Matthews, an NAC baseball matchup. Matthews is one of the top teams in the conference, and St. John has been getting the job done in all of their conference work as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. I know that I don't want to say there's not bad blood necessarily between them, but this is one of those games that probably gets a circle on the calendar, as last year on their way to winning a sectional title, St. John was able to knock Matthews out of the tournament. Matthews was able to win during the regular season, but St. John, we talked about them making an absolutely huge run there at the end of at the end of the year, and turning what was a losing record going into the tournament into a overall even record, and winning a sectional title. So, St. John comes in this year 8-0, beating a very good Jackson Milton, or 8-1, beating a very good Jackson Milton team today. That's Matthews coming in here 8-1. St. John comes in here 4-3. Now, St. John has done well inside of their conference. That is for sure. I believe in their conference they're undefeated. So yeah, they're 3-0 in their conference. Obviously, Matthews is 4-0 in their conference. So this one is going to determine who's going to be in first place in that conference. Now, yesterday we were able to get a game covered over there for St. John and broadcast right there on ysnlive.com, and that was an absolute blast. Now, at least for one team, I know Lordstown had a tough time yesterday. And sometimes it goes that way. Sometimes your pitching's not there. Sometimes, when you jump out to an 8-run lead in the first inning, it's pretty much smooth sailing from there. That game, the final of that game does end up being 13-0. They only play 5 there. But St. John's offense was just on fire. But nobody's been on fire in this St. John offense more than Bryce Vanetti, who has another 4 RBI day yesterday, and really gets the scoring started himself. We got an interview with him post-game. I'm going to run it right now. All right, I'm here with today's player of the game, Bryce Vanetti, the junior from St. John. Another 4 RBI game for you today, going 2 for 3 after a big week last week. What's going on with that bat, as it seems to be on fire?
I had a few bad games, just starting to heat up. Happy I can do it for my team.
So what are some of the things you made sure you worked on in the off season? Because this year, not only have you taken a bigger role in the box, but also taken on some roles over on the mound as well.
Well, I really work on hitting wise. I just think of myself as a gap-to-gap hitter, so I like to work on those. Got to keep my swing tight. That's what I work on the most. And pitching wise, I feel like I've made some good improvements. I've worked on that a lot.
What are some of the things we're going to get used to and get lucky to see when the Heralds are on the field this year?
We got a lot of good players, good young players too. Not to disregard our seniors, but we really got a lot of good young guys coming up, and great seniors this year that can help us into the playoffs. Looks like a great team from everything we've seen on the network so far. Today's player of the game, 4 RBIs for Bryce Vanetti. Yeah, that was Bryce Vanetti, one of the juniors. Juniors on this Herald's team. And this Herald's team, the makeup of the team is a pretty good mix, I guess, of seniors all the way down to some freshmen who are really contributing, I guess is the best way to put it. That one of their pretty much everyday starters is a young man by the name of Anthony Severino. He's an everyday contributor. He's a kid you're going to be able to see, catching. You might see him at some shortstop. You might see him in the outfield, kind of wherever they need him, is where you're going to see, with, the sophomore class is absolutely loaded. You got Will Anderson, who's their leadoff guy, Ryan Williams. Those guys are all really, really good baseball players, but they've got some quality seniors out there as well. And I'm not trying to forget anybody, so if I do, I apologize. But, you've got guys like Matt Miller, the Miller boys, Tommy Miller. Tommy Miller was just on our starting 9 last week because of his, him going 4 for 4 with a ton of RBIs. Matt Miller is a kid who, he's got a lot of pop in his bat. He can pitch very well. Jesus Hernandez has taken on a bigger role in the pitching this year. It's really kind of cool to see how this whole makeup of the St. John Heralds is this year, and really what culture I think is another one that's being built over there. You've got kids who are coming to play baseball now, including, yesterday we saw the pitching debut of sophomore Vin Narducci. Goes out there and gets a couple strikeouts, doesn't really, give away any runs. And, Narducci's one of those kids. He's a multi-sport athlete. And in those smaller schools like St. John, like Sebring, like Windham, like basically everything you're going to see in the NAC, you need those guys. You need your multi-sport athletes to come out and play the game. And it's not just in baseball, it's everything. If you've got an athlete, they got to be out there on the field or the court for you. And they're doing a great job over there at St. John of making sure to utilize, their athletes to the best of their ability. Let's cover a couple. Let's get into some other ones. Let's talk about some of the scores from yesterday. A lot of baseball got played yesterday. You got to love that. So here we are. We're going to start off. Berkshire and Grand Valley not reported just yet. So make sure you come back as soon as those games get reported to us. We get them live up there on the scoreboard. ysnlive.com/score, or just click the score button. And that's where you want to go to get all of your area scores from the river all the way up to the lake. Almost 70 teams. Almost 70 schools involved with us here at YSN. It's truly a one-stop shop for Northeast Ohio sports, particularly baseball. I don't know if anybody's covering baseball the way we are. Lordstown and Ashtabula, Lake St. John, we talked about that one. That goes 13-0. Cheney and Badger getting a win here, 16-5 over top of Cheney. Salem and Carrollton. It's Carrollton on top of Salem in this one. Yesterday, we got a chance to see one of the Salem players on the Power Hour with DJ Yoakley. It was really a pretty cool interview. That young man is committed to Virginia Tech, only a junior with a Division I commitment already, which is pretty doggone impressive. This was the game that I talked about and I hyped up a ton yesterday, and that was Poland and South Range. So Poland wins over South Range, and I got to look and see what that does to the NE8, because Lakeview has needed some help to grab that, to be able to grab that top spot, and with Lakeview beating Poland, that might have been what they need. St. John is a great school, and the sports continue to improve with new kids coming every day to be a part of the program. Great to see. Marco, I cannot agree with you anymore. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I guess I would call it a resurgence is really the best way I would describe it for St. John. It's a resurgence of sports. There's kind of a big push. There's a big care. The athletes are kind of taking accountability, and I think they have a lot of the right, the right people, coaching out there, and I think that plays a huge part. Absolutely. And thanks for watching. But yeah, so that South Range, that Poland game, huge implications for the conference there. So when we're going to jump over to the standings page, we're going to kind of see how that one rattled out. Springfield and McDonald unreported right now. Here's another one. Austintown, Fitch, and Mooney. Fitch coming to grab that revenge there again. Austintown Fitch is very, very good this year. I think a lot of people had questions for Austintown Fitch because of what was returning, and I think more importantly, what they lost from last year. You lose a Division I guy in Joe Roth, who's out there, and he's not riding the pine. This kid's he's a starter. He's in the rotation over there at Akron, and he's killing it. They're losing that guy, but they've had some other guys who are stepping up for Fitch. And a win over a very good program in Cardinal Mooney. Walsh Jesuit and Archbishop Hoban was another one that a lot of people had circled on their schedule. This is a Division I, Thrilla and Manila, the big one over here. And Walsh Jesuit and Hoban, it's Walsh Jesuit on this day. This is going to be one of those games, and DJ talked about it yesterday. I think this is going to have implications on our power rankings as to who's going to be the number one team. But before we get down too far, I know that there's another team that was looking to grab that number one spot that may have taken a loss yesterday. Niles and Lakeview. Lakeview, you may as well call them DJ Khaled because all they do is win, win, win. Another win there, 6-5 over Niles. Newton Falls 7-5 over Brookfield. Here's a big one here. Louisville getting a 7-6 win over Washington, Massillon, Washington. These are two Division I powerhouses meeting on the field, and this time it's the people of Lewis. Don't call me Louisville. The Leopards coming out on top. Matthews going to go 10-0 win over Jackson Milton. That's a very impressive win as well. Jackson Milton has put together some big time wins this year already. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say they've got 9 or 10 wins themselves because they were a team. Yeah, I'm sorry. They've got 12 wins. So Jackson Milton went into that game 12-3, and that was all Matthews on that one. And again, all this does is continue to hype up the game that I'm going to be broadcasting today with St. John and Matthews. St. John can really change their course of action or their course toward the playoffs today with a big win over Matthews. But I can tell you, it ain't going to come easy because Matthews, they taste blood from last year. Champion goes 13-2 over Liberty. You got Columbiana flying high again, this time over the Rams, 14-4. Struthers is going to win in a close one over Jefferson there, 9-7, the final in that one. And the battle for Warren is going to go to the JFK Eagles in this one. JFK 3, Warren Harding 1. Let's head over to the softball side. As Conneaut and Lakeside unreported as of now, but Jefferson is most certainly reported as they're going to go a 19-1 win over the Grand Valley Mustangs. Jefferson, I can't say enough about this softball team. I'm telling you what, guys, they're going to make a run. They are going to cause some noise. They've got some young ladies that can really, really play the game. They score in bunches. I think they started off cold this year, and they not only did they start off cold, but they started off with probably the best team in their conference in South Range. But you know, Sammy Speakman, Rogers, Matuz, Contenza, there's so many talented young ladies on this Falcons team, and every time they go out there and hit the softball diamond, they make a difference, and they play together. And I can't tell you how impressed I am. I just can't express enough how impressed I am with this Jefferson team. They've really stepped up. I think they're going to potentially creep and cause a little bit of a ruckus in this NE8. But this NE8 conference, let's just be honest, is 100% stacked. It ain't just Jefferson, who's a very, very good team this year in there. You got South Range, who's elite. You got Poland, who's elite. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this one shakes out. Jefferson going to need some help, and they're going to have to do some wins, get some winning done on their own if they want to grab that conference. Archbishop Hoban and Brunswick, that one was brought to you by Ty Bartell yesterday. It's 4-0 Hoban on that one. And then you got Girard and Hubbard. Hubbard getting the win in this one, 9-6. Niles and Youngstown East unreported, but Canton Central Catholic and Cardinal Mooney certainly was reported, and it was all triple C's over there. 20-4, a big win there. South Range and Poland, I just got done talking about them and the implications it's going to have in the conference. It's not just baseball, it's in softball as well. These two are fighting for the top. South Range 8-6 over Poland. Champion and Liberty unreported on that one. Niles and Lakeview 21, Niles 0. Brookfield 15, Newton Falls 0. Western Reserve is going to go 12-4 over Waterloo. McDonald 3-1 over Springfield. East Palestine getting one over Latonia there, 18-1. Jackson Milton 12-0 over Lowellville. United going 13-0 over Crestview. Rebels having a tough day. And West Branch 8-7 over Minerva. Those are your scores from Thursday. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back from our break, we are going to we're going to talk about some of the games that are going to be on the tap for today. I want to talk a little bit about what's on tap for the day for me for the activities, as well as cover the standings. This is the part of the show where I remind you that the 440 Sports Show is brought to you by, as it stands, nobody. We are looking for sponsorship. This could be the 440 Sports Show brought to you by Block. whatever your company name is. If you know somebody with a business, somebody with a product, somebody with a company, make sure you contact us. We'd love to get you. There are almost 70 schools and way more than 70 demographics that you're going to hit on a very regular basis. Your commercials are going to be ran on our daily shows, such as the 440 Sports Show. We've got Running Point that happens at 1 o'clock. We've got Power Hour, the cornerstone of the daily network, that runs at 3 o'clock. Not to mention, even during baseball season, covering 12, 14, 16 games in a day on average. You're going to have that run across all of those platforms. You're going to get in front of a lot of people. It's a great way to get your product out there, but it's also a great way to help these kids, because the sponsorships and the advertisements are what helps us continue to do what we are doing on a daily basis, whether it's covering baseball games, whether it's traveling to follow teams when they are going down, for big tournaments and stuff like that. That's how we do it. So we're going to go with our first break, and our first break is going to be brought to you by Toyota of Warren. But if you know somebody that is interested in becoming a sponsor or an advertiser right here on YSN, make sure you contact me on any of the social medias, or you go to www.ysnlive.com and click the advertisement. See you soon.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
All right, everybody, welcome back here to the 440 Sports Show, the Friday edition, here on April 21st. My name is Sam Torres. Thanks so much for joining us here this morning on the 440 Sports Show, Ashtabula's only morning sports talk show. We're going to jump into some standing stuff as, there's been a couple jumps around here in this one. So I'm going to start off because of the game I'm covering today. I'm going to start off right here with the NAC. We're still trying to get that CVC in order, so you guys just bear with me. I know it'll take a minute. St. John going 2-0 in the conference with that big win yesterday. 2-0 in the conference, although their overall record is 4-3. Bristol in the driver's seat with this one with 3-0. Chalker over on the softball side, 4-0. Lordstown 3-3 and 1-1 in the conference there as St. John takes a loss to Lordstown yesterday. On the baseball side, as you can see, Matthews in the Stars division is going to be in the driver's seat there with PV. I'll tell you what, that PV, I can very much see them coming up and making a run at this one, depending on how that Matthews and St. John game goes. Not a lot of conference games have been played in that conference yesterday, but over on the softball side, it's been the Lake Show. PV getting it done, 6-0 in the conference. And, spaceships don't come equipped with rear view mirrors because they are not turning back to see who's behind them. It's all go and no breaks. Bailey Alderman and the girls are out there getting it done on a daily basis. PV, very, very impressive this year. Let's head over to this NE8 as we're going to see, as I thought. So your new top of the leaderboard, your new top in the conference is the Lakeview Bulldogs, as Poland gives South Range gives Poland that loss. So 5-1 South Range, 4-1 Poland. How about the Lakeview Bulldogs? 7-1, 9-1 overall. I think this is a team that got overlooked by a lot of people coming into this year. I think a lot of people thought they were going to be good, but it was going to be either be South Range or Poland there at the top. And the Bulldogs have taken a bite and locked their jaws on the top of the conference. It's going to be interesting to see if they can hold it, because with, each, as you can tell, the top three teams all have one loss. So there is no room for error. You have to go out there. As long as you win, you're going to stay put. As long as you win, you're not going to go down. But that was interesting. I knew that game yesterday had huge conference implications. And as it turns out, that was 100% correct. As we head over to the softball side, and South Range, a perfect 6-0 in the conference, and Poland with a 5-2 record in the conference. But South Range is 10-1 already, which is absolutely insane. But you look there and there's not a lot of room there. Now, so I talked about Jefferson. Jefferson has a tough start. They're 4-4 in the conference. It's going to take a lot for them to kind of slither their way to the top there. But 7-4 already. You got to remember they had a rough start going against the perfect 6-0 South Range Raiders. They've really recovered from that, getting some wins over a win over Poland, a couple wins over Hubbard. It's going to be a pretty good season. And again, baseball, this is all for basically just for bragging rights, because baseball and softball, you're making the tournament no matter what. So it doesn't always matter how much you win, but it does matter when you win. So Jefferson is getting everything on the right, firing on all cylinders at the right time. Over here on Canfield, Canfield and Austintown still the top over there in the AAC. Austinfield and Canfield still the top in the softball side of it. I don't think those records have been updated just yet. Same thing with your Buckeye, our CVC. And that's going to put 8-5 overall for Edgewood, as they get a tight win yesterday over Grand Valley. That was another one that was like neck and neck. A big game for Ethan Dietrich, who goes out there and strikes out like 10, and then goes up, and he must have been pinch hitting, I would assume, because he goes 1 for 1 in the game, but that 1 for 1 is a 2-run shot in his first home run of the year. Edgewood has really got it moving in the right direction there too. Edgewood and Geneva, and I know Geneva not part of the YSN network yet. We're going to keep pushing because those kids deserve to be in here. They deserve to be considered for our Power 20 every week. They've got a lot of kids that would have been in the starting 9 coming up this week, and we would love nothing more than to provide this additional experience to Geneva and their students for free. If you'd like to get the Eagles on there, make sure you're contacting your administrators and let them know, I want my YSN. Lakeside, 4-6, but still looking for that first win in the conference. They've got some wins, but conference play has been a different animal completely. Over on the softball side, you got Harvey on top here. Edgewood 7-3 overall. Over here in the Chagrin Valley division, you got Orange at 2-3. Beechwood on the top there, and Chagrin Falls there. So, and over here in the Eastern Buckeye Conference, you've got West Branch still atop, 10-2 overall record, 4-1 in the conference, and Marlington on the top there in softball. And you head over to the EOAC. Columbiana is going to be on the top there, 5-0, 7-6. Tied with them, though, right there is United. Who's going to blink first in the staring contest between the Bombers and the Eagles? That's the question. And if you didn't get enough of it, we're going to switch it, reverse skate in softball. It's going to be United first, and it's going to be Columbiana second, 6-0, 7-0. Those two are neck and neck in both baseball and softball. It's going to be interesting to see. Can one school get the sweep, or are they going to split it? MVAC, you got the Crestview Rebels, who are 8-2, and LeBray, after going after a 12-win start or 11-win start, takes the loss there, and that was one of those games I knew was going to have some implications. They take their second loss, and it happens to be a conference team, so they're 5-2 in second place here on the baseball side. Jackson Milton taking their loss in the last game against Matthews. 6-1 in their conference, though 9-3 overall, with Springfield right on their heels at 5-1 and McDonald at 5-2. So this MVAC is a pretty tight conference as well, and there are a lot of teams in there too. 10-0 champion. It's Gabby Gradishar and the girls getting the job done over there for the Bolts. That softball team is just nothing short of impressive. I think that they are going to make some real noise. They're going to make a real amount of noise here in the playoffs. Brookfield 7-2 with a 10-3 record. You got Western Reserve over there on the Scarlet Division, though, and they're a perfect 6-0 with a perfect 8-0 on the year. They're going to be on top of the board here because their one conference loss in McDonald comes to the undefeated champion. The conference undefeated champion with a 9-2 overall record, and McDonald has been able to get the job done this year as well. It has truly been in the Steel Valley Conference. There's not a whole lot of games getting played in that conference as it stands right now, but Ursuline has gotten a couple under their belt. They're in a perfect 3-0 in the conference, 8-3 overall. It's been a rough year for Mooney as they go 0-1 with 4-6, and same thing for Cheney. All right, that's going to do it for that part of the show. I want to talk to you guys about what games are coming up today. I'm pretty excited about some of the games on tap today. Jackson Milton at LeBray. They're going to be playing at Eastwood Field. Campbell Memorial, and that's a 4:30 start. Campbell Memorial and Lowellville, they're going to be playing at Scene Park. That starts at 5 o'clock. You got Niles at Mineral Ridge. That's a 5 o'clock start time. Lordstown at Wyndham. It'll be interesting to see, can Lordstown bounce back from a tough loss yesterday? You know, they made the trip all the way up Route 11, and let's just say St. John wasn't a warming house home guest for them. But they're going to be playing at 7 o'clock. You got Talmadge at Hoban playing at Kent State tonight. That's going to be a 7 o'clock game. Lakeview at Howland is a 5 o'clock. Ursuline at Hubbard, that's a 5 o'clock right here on YSN. All these games being mentioned on YSN. South Range at Cardinal Mooney at Scene Park, 5 o'clock. Big game there. And weather permitting, Matthews at St. John. This is an NAC big one. That one's going to be called by me starting at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock also on the softball side. You've got Hoban taking on Fitch. This is the one, folks. Tune in. This is the game. It's Sidney Watts and Fitch are absolutely on fire. And if they can get this big win over Hoban, I don't know anybody who's going to be able to stop them. Beaver Local is going to be at Struthers. That's at 5 o'clock. And North Canton Hoover at Canfield at 5 o'clock. That one going to be called by Anthony Hartwig. Those are the games that are on the tap for today. It's going to be a big day. Weather permitting, rain, just kind of hold off. Give us the afternoon. You can have the evening. That's what we've got going on. We're going to come back again on Monday after a full weekend full of baseball and softball, and I can't wait. But make sure you tune in at 11 o'clock. We're going over to Lakeside it's going to be the Class Wars. This one is going to be dodgeball. Can't wait to cover some dodgeball. I've never got a chance to do it. I can go out there and for the first time legitimately say, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks so much for joining the 440 Sports Show. This is Ashtabula's only morning sports talk show. I'll see you guys soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay blessed. I'll see you soon.
This for the football. This for the football. For the city and the back roads, got a whole county full of them goats. All from the football. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating no dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them. Yeah, and Connie I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football. This for the football.